Oculus is a 2013 American supernatural psychological horror about a woman who tries to exonerate her brother, who was convicted of murder, by proving that the crime was committed by a supernatural phenomenon. It's a great film that is well worth the watch. This review may contain scenes of simulated graphic violence and is suitable for mature audiences only, so if you are ready, spoilers ahead. A young girl, Kaylee, face bloodied, peeks through a doorway, terrified as her father, Alan, walks through the room with a revolver. She opens the door and, along with her brother Tim, sneak to the front door. The boy turns to see a ghostly figure and alerts their father. Kaylee shields Tim from their father as he points his revolver to his daughter's head. The father turns into a now-adult Tim and pulls the trigger. Tim is recovering from a traumatic past event. He will be meeting his sister again soon and is warned by the doctor to protect himself. Kaylee is with Michael, her boyfriend, at an auction where they both work. A large antique mirror has just been sold. Tim looks apprehensive as he leaves the mental facility. Kaylee is waiting for him and they embrace. They have lunch together and Kaylee has organized an apartment for Tim. Out of the blue, Kaylee says she found it, and Tim's demeanor changes. She says it took her a year and a half to find it, and they have a few days to keep their promise and kill it. 11 years earlier, the Russell family moves into their new home. Marie is directing the movers while Tim and Kaylee play together. Alan is on the phone doing business and he is under pressure, and Marie directs a large antique mirror to be put in his office. They discuss purchasing furniture, but Alan surprises Marie with something she always wanted and they embrace. We can see they are very happy together. Tim moves into a small apartment and seems depressed. Kaylee reminds him that he made her a promise that he would never forget what really happened. She says she will do it tomorrow and leaves. Back in time, Alan and Marie have a little rumpy-bumpy. That evening, while Alan is walking through the dark house after getting some juice, a demonic figure stares at him but disappears, and he thinks he is going crazy. He heads to his office and sees he spilled his drink on himself, so leaves and turns the light off. In the present, Kaylee wakes up to a dog barking in the night and Michael is asleep. She walks into her father's office and slowly approaches the dark-rimmed mirror. She stares into it, and as she turns, her father grabs her by the throat. She begins screaming in her bed, and as Michael tries to calm her, we discover that she has been suffering from night terrors since a strange event from her past. The next day, while working, Michael finds murder scenes have been printed from Kaylee's computer. She grabs them and hides the images. Michael wants to know why she printed them, but Kaylee deflects his questions and promises things will get better. In the auction room storehouse, it's explained the mirror will be transferred for a small repair. Kaylee walks up to it and starts talking to it like she knew it. She says it must be hungry, and she inspects a large crack in the corner of the mirror. Suddenly, in its reflection, a third covered statue appears and moves itself. But spinning around, there are only two. The mirror shows the third statue again, and then it exists in reality. Kaylee slowly walks towards it and begins unmasking the statues, but she seems terrified. She is startled as someone comes behind her to verify the transfer, and the statue is gone again. She stares at the ominous mirror and says she will see it at home. Kaylee signs the transfer papers and Tim wants to meet up with her, so she suggests their old house. The mirror is being loaded and we see dead plants by the exit door. Marie inspects her dead plants but doesn't know why they are all dying. In his office, Alan thinks he hears whispers. Outside, Kaylee and Tim are playing again. When Kaylee hides by her father's office window, she peeks inside and sees a woman caressing him. While chatting at the dinner table, Alan has bitten his fingernail till it bleeds, and Kaylee asks who the woman was. He asks which lady and Marie looks suspicious. Tim is waiting in their old house as Kaylee enters with a caged dog. He feels awkward and looks through the house. Lights and plants have been set up throughout. He turns and we see a chain bolted onto the wall. Kaylee explains she lived in an orphanage, and when Tim looks back the chain has vanished. Next, they carry the antique into Alan's office and set it up where it was before. There is a hole in the wall, and above Tim is a weighted anchor attached to a swing system. Kaylee says it's a kill switch. Kaylee explains that she has several cameras for objective recording, timers to remind them to eat, and sensors to detect temperature change. She explains the experiment is to record the existence of a supernatural force that resides in the mirror. She claims it has killed 45 people over 400 years of its existence, but its origin is unknown. But as Tim tries to stop recording, Kaylee gets forceful and tells him to never stop recording. She gets a call from Michael, who checks in on her every hour. She explains how the church investigated this ancient mirror after the first owner was burned to a crisp, and a relative saw his reflection in the mirror. While telling us of all the deranged deaths surrounding the mirror, her dead dog walks past the room and she is frozen. But an alarm goes off and they eat. She shows photos of victims' unnatural events, until she shows her own father and mother, who within 2 weeks of owning the Lassar glass, suffered a mental breakdown, torture and murder from her husband, whom Tim had to shoot in order to save his sister, Kaylee. As Kaylee is claiming that the mirror is supernatural, Tim says they should just destroy it, to which Kaylee suggests him to try. He can't do it and can't explain why. One other person attempted to break it, but walked into heavy traffic instead and killed himself. She believes the Lassar glass was defending itself. Kaylee sets up a weighted anchor to smash the mirror on a timer, to provoke the mirror to defend itself to prove its demonic power. While Alan is working, he removes the band-aid from his finger, but it reappears. He uses a staple remover to take it off, but he rips off his fingernail instead. Whispers tell him it doesn't hurt. He rebandages his finger and calls his kids to his office. He scolds them for playing in his office, which they deny. Alan tells them to stop, and to leave their mother's plants alone as well. Tim says there are many reasons for dead plants, but Kaylee explains that all of the victims' plants were dead as well. She claims the mirror feeds on their life force and has brought Dog to prove it. Although Tim thinks Kaylee must be crazy, he looks down to see his old dog, laying weak on the ground. Alan has bought a gun, but Marie is not happy. Alan calls her a grotesque cow but then denies it. We can see their mental state is being affected. Marie wakes up to their dog barking at Alan's office, but gets bitten. She hears whispers and he opens the door. They begin arguing loudly. In the morning, Alan asks his kids to stay out of his office while he plays golf with a client. Mason goes crazy at the office door, so Marie lets him inside, but the door locks. When Alan comes home, Mason has completely disappeared. Tim argues that Kaylee's memories are fragmented, and that Mason was just sick and had to be put down. They both have different recollections of their past events. Tim and Kaylee come downstairs where their parents are arguing loudly again. Alan says Marie is going crazy and losing her mind, but Kaylee asks if they are fighting about the woman in the office. Tim says he convinced himself he saw many things, but questions what they remember. Kaylee remembers the woman. Tim argues that their father was having an affair, but Kaylee found no evidence. She does not deny that their father was seduced, but she doesn't know by what. They argue intensely and fight over the dog that's caged. Tim lets him out of the house and he runs away. He says Kaylee is losing her grip on reality and she begins to cry, realizing that she may have a serious mental disorder. They decide to turn off the cameras and go to her fiancé for help. As Kaylee faces the office, she is frozen in place by what she sees. Tim joins her, staring in horror. The office has been completely rearranged. All the plants are dead, and cameras are facing each other. Kaylee feels vindicated, but Tim is struggling to process it all. Kaylee grabs the third camera. Going through the footage, Tim and Kaylee rearrange the office while arguing, but neither of them actually remembers doing it. They see several dead plants in the house, but Tim starts to freak out, thinking that he is losing his mind again. Outside, the call to his doctor can't go through, and he is inside the house again, and Kaylee tells him that he never left the house at all. The kids hear a banging in the office, and Kaylee finds her mother staring deeply into the mirror, without even seeing her daughter. Marie made toast for dinner and asks about the woman in the office. Kaylee says she hasn't seen her, but Tim saw her the previous night on the stairs, but he was scared. Marie enters the office and finds notes with a woman's name repeated on it. In a rage, she trashes the office. While looking at a broken family photo, she lashes out at the mirror, which draws her towards it, but her reflection is motionless. It shows her scar and the kids hear a scream. They rush downstairs and Marie begins to strangle Tim with her bare hands. She trips and chases them upstairs. While banging on the locked door, Alan comes home. He is confused and she attacks him. Alan puts her in a sleeper hold in defense, but while calling 911, he hears whispers coming from the mirror, and he drags Marie away. He tells the kids to go to bed while holding a chain and hammer. The kids are terrified as they hear banging. Kaylee tells Tim to snap out of it. Tim was remembering the past. While setting up the cameras, Tim sees Kaylee on the monitors, but not reflecting her actions. The lights flash. Alan tells his children that their mother is very sick and they have to stay away from her bedroom. Alan is acting very strangely and avoiding their questions. The alarm goes off and Kaylee hands Tim an apple. As Tim replaces blown lights, Kaylee has a flashback. Suddenly, Alan walks past with a tray of food for Marie. He doesn't answer Kaylee, and Tim has disappeared. After replacing another blown light, she bites into an apple, but it's a light bulb. Her mouth is full of blood as she removes a large piece of glass. Tim calls her name and she is holding an apple again. She is freaked out and suggests they should stay together. But Tim is staring at his younger self watching cartoons. It loses signal and the kids hear banging upstairs. In case you missed it, let's take a closer look at that. The kids are hungry, but there is no food. Kaylee tells Alan they need food, but responds glibly while staring into the mirror. She goes upstairs to tell her mother there is no food. She quietly enters the room and she is attacked by Marie, who is chained to the wall and her teeth are broken. Alan grounds them, but they call a doctor, but every doctor they call has the same voice. Kaylee brings their neighbor, but Alan convinces him there is nothing wrong. We see Alan has pulled off all his fingernails and is bloodied. He stares at his kids and goes to his office as Tim is watching from the shadows. Next, Kaylee wakes up in front of the mirror right before the anchor falls. She resets it in time and the lights explode. Old and young Tim stare at each other. The lights go off and Kaylee goes through the house turning on backup lights. Tim and Kaylee walk past each other on the stairs. In their mother's room, Kaylee sees chains and blood from Marie and says it isn't real. Tim enters the office, but a demonic woman opens the door. Tim runs and locks himself in his room while old Tim watches. Kaylee picks up a broken ceramic shard and uses her phone camera to distinguish what is reality. A possessed Marie appears and she stabs her neck, but it's Michael who came to see her. Tim comes down the stairs as Michael bleeds out and dies. Michael calls on the phone and Kaylee thinks it's a trick and uses her phone, but realizes that she killed Michael for real. Tim pulls Kaylee outside and calls 911 and says they are going to be okay. As they speak, the lights turn on and Tim opens the curtains. From outside, they see themselves standing in front of the mirror, waiting for the anchor to fall. Tim calls 911 again, and a voice says they have to have their father call, just like when they were younger. Next, we see Alan standing with his back to the mirror. He brings out his revolver and loads it while Tim watches. Kaylee says they should smash the mirror. They sneak downstairs as Tim and Kaylee come in to see themselves standing by the mirror. The lights go out and a demonic woman approaches them. The kids run upstairs to hide in a closet. Marie bleeds as she eats ceramic and Alan enters. He puts his gun to her throat, takes her chain off, and she looks towards the children's bedroom. Tim and Kaylee are hiding but need to get downstairs. They open the door and Marie is there. She bangs on the door and the kids are terrified. They decide to take a chance to run down the stairs and Kaylee smashes Marie, who charges at them. Alan is waiting downstairs and Marie chases Kaylee into her bedroom. She jumps out the window and injures her leg. As she walks towards the front door, she sees two possessed figures staring back at her from the window. Alan walks towards Tim as he faces his dead father, who fires a shot. Kaylee sees the flash and bravely enters into the house again. She calls for Tim and sees her now possessed fiancé, who smiles as she walks away. Tim tries to signal her that Marie is close by, but she gets attacked and is almost strangled to death. However, some sanity returns to Marie and she lets her grip ease from her daughter. She whispers her name and is shot by her husband, who shoots her a second time. The kids run past all the victims of the mirror. Alan then murders his wife with no remorse. The kids are hiding from their possessed father and they attempt to break the laser glass, but they cannot hit the mirror at all. It won't let us. Alan enters and points his gun at Kaylee, while seeing an evil reflection of himself in the mirror. Tim hits the gun away, but he begins to strangle his daughter while Tim picks up the revolver, begging his father to stop. He lets Kaylee go and faces his son and gets on his knees. He puts his finger on the trigger and tells his son to run. He pulls the trigger and kills himself, putting a crack in the mirror. The children are surrounded by the dead victims and emit a deafening alarm sound. Tim is all alone on the floor while an alarm goes off. He calls to Kaylee, who is alone in the office with club in hand. Marie calls to her from the mirror and Tim sees the counter winding down. Kaylee makes her way to her mother's outstretched arms and they embrace between two worlds. Tim stares at the mirror and releases the anchor. To his horror, he has impaled his own sister as she is pressed against the mirror. He remembers their promise they made when they were young, as Kaylee slowly dies. Flashing lights signal the police have arrived and Tim breaks down. Police assess the scene in the past and present and Tim is handcuffed while they watch him kill his sister. Past and present Tim get taken away as they cry that it was the mirror that did it. The movie ends with young Tim seeing his dead parents and the old Tim sees that his sister has joined them. I hope you enjoyed my movie recap. Leave your comments below if you have seen Oculus or if you would like to watch it now. Take care and see you next time.